professors. In July 2019, PayPal ceased its relationship with Prostasia because it apparently violated policy on transactions involving, encouraging, promoting, facilitating, or instructing others to engage in illegal activity.
Like domestic violence.
Sus. Now, all over their website are words like free speech and sex positivity. Like, they recently had some webinar, and I'm not even joking, this is what it was called. Prostasia tries really hard to roleplay as this, like, hip, modern, inclusive organization. But at the end of the day, they're just another NAMBLA. They're just another Lincoln project. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking, Shu, this isn't that bad. You know, maybe their heart is in the right place. Keep watching. An advisor to the Canadian Centre for Child Protection had to say this about Prostasia. Are there any Prostasia campaigns that don't undermine online child protection? They claim to be a child protection org, but it's hard to find an issue where they err on the side of actual child protection. Prostasia doesn't have a victim focus, full stop. The goals of Prostasia is very clearly to protect the feelings of grown-ass adults. That is their top priority. They have other priorities. Another thing they advocate for is the legalization of drawn CP. Now, I don't really know where I stand on this. Drawings are not real, just like fantasy or roleplay or whatever. Nobody's getting hurt, and the main concern is children being hurt or exploited. Whether looking at material like that is harmful, that's like a whole different video. But like, look, I can literally draw a stick figure right now. Ready? Let's give her big milkers. There we go. Awooga, right? Well, she's under 18. There are federal agents at your door. But another battle they are fighting is for the legalization of child sex dolls. Recently, some mother had to fight to get a doll removed from being sold because it was based on her 8-year-old daughter. And another focus of theirs, and I'm not joking, is to abolish the sex offender registry. Now, why would Prostasia want to abolish sex offender registry? Well, let's talk about who—
Because it's filled with a bunch of sex offenders. That's it.
Who is behind this organization?
I want to know who's behind it so I may burn them. They deserve to be burned at the cross.
They accepted self-admitted files as volunteers. Jeremy replied, "We don't make a policy of asking people about their sexuality before they are allowed to volunteer." Their sexuality. Right. The Council of Ghouls consists of convicted sex offender Guy Hamilton Smith. And they also have convicted sex offender Jeff White on board for a while. So I think we figured out why they want to get rid of the sex offender registry. By the way, when a family lawyer called into question Jeff White's sketchy history of, you know, child diddling, the family lawyer received threats from Jeremy Malcolm, the founder, that basically said, "You leave us alone, we'll leave you alone." Capiche? And after that, they apparently stopped disclosing who works for them. They stopped disclosing the staff, the volunteers. It's just a big mystery now. But don't worry, it's not all convicted sex offenders. They also have a clinical psychologist, Dr.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
Who had to say this. Speaking of David, I believe we should compete. To do otherwise is to betray the principles that give us our rights. For the last f***ing time. Gay. Male. Male. Lesbian. Female. Female. Bi. Female. Male. Pedo. Adult. Child. It has nothing to do with gender. It has nothing to do with sexuality. Children can be male or female. Pedophiles can be straight, gay, bi, as the CEO. But like, I know this is a weak comparison, but seriously, this would be like making any one of my sick fetishes part of the LGBTQ alphabet. Like, yeah guys, we need to add S. to LGBT. Lesbian, gay, bi, trans, spit in my mouth. It's not how that works.
You can't sit with us!
But they also had a nice woman named Sheila, who worked with them for a little while, and she had this to say on Christmas, December 2019. Merry Christmas to everyone, including the necrophiles, pedophiles, and evapophiles, who have to put up with people like blank, virtue signaling, and perpetuating stigma every single day of the year. Now, if you are a normal person, and you do not know what a necrophile is, a necrophile is someone who's attracted to babies. Hold on.
That's a thing? Bro, what the fuck? It's so unfair.
Cryptocurrency. Of course, but also get this. Amazon Smile. You could literally select them as a charity on Amazon. So while I was doing my sleuthing around at 4 AM like a f***ing freak, high off adrenaline, just absolutely on my QAnon grind, I actually found the director of the organization. Meet Noah Berlatsky, the main character of this story. Now, our friend Noah has some interesting takes. Pedophiles are essentially stigmatized. Certain people get designated as deviants. People hate them. Yes. And parents are tyrants. Parents is an oppressive class, like rich people or white people. He also wrote a few blogs on the Prostasia website. Child sex workers' biggest threat, the police. Okay, let's back up for a second. There's no such thing as a child sex worker, Noah. That's called a human trafficking victim. This one is called The Science Behind Adolescent Autonomy. Should a 15-year-old be able to vote? Should a 13-year-old be able to decide when to go to bed? Should a 16-year-old be able to decide to sex with their significant other? Should a 12-year-old be allowed to choose and what not to eat for dinner? Rather than outsourcing our ethics and ill-informed readings of neuroscience data, we need to acknowledge that the real corrupter of judgment, of kindness, of tolerance, is power. We refuse to let young people advocate for themselves, or refuse to grant them bodily autonomy. It is not because there is something wrong with their decision-making capacity, it is because there is something wrong with ours. Therefore, let me present you some f***ing ideas. What are you getting at here? The echo chamber of alt-right conspiracy theorists and sexual conservatives who wield the stigma around pedophilia as a potent weapon to undermine the progress of the LGBT movement. So it is true that years ago, and still today, it was used to fearmonger about gay people. And all gay people aren't pedophiles, obviously. Wow, look at all these crazy conservatives calling the LGBT community pedophiles. Isn't that f***ed up? Well, yeah, but what does that have to do with you? So I also just found out he's written something about how Bernie Sanders has to be nicer to the liberal elite. That's just funny to me. Then I was thinking to myself, why does this Noah dude's account look so familiar? Turns out, he's the f***ing journalist who got got mad at me like a year ago for criticizing the Netflix movie Cuties. Audiences hate it because there's a moral panic right-wing campaign targeting it, fueled in part by racism and sexism directed at a black woman filmmaker. Wrong. Leftists like Shoe-on-Head and Bosch are critical of the film. Shoe-on-Head is a notorious alt-right asshole. Also, hashtag 2 aggressive horrible accounts. Please delete that tweet. You're putting people on the
What the fuck, dude?
Oh yes, and that reminds me. Do you remember this guy who said I was too mean to pedophiles?
I feel that only at around the age of 4 are
Damn.
children perhaps able to consent to sexual acts and
Fuck.
Go to jail! Well, he got arrested.
Thank you.
All my haters are demons, may they not see the gates, amen. So let's go back to that math support. Let's read a little more about it. Community rules. 1. You must be committed to never engaging in sexual activity with a child. Well, f***ing organization already broke rule 1. But anyway, rule number 2. You must be at least 13 years old to join this chat. In case you missed that.
Fucking hell. Fuck.
13 years old. So that means there are whole ass adults who admit they are attracted to children in private chat rooms with children. I'm going to commit a war crime. I am going to commit several war crimes. So here's a screen cap of apparently what goes on in said chats. What's your age of attraction? Little boys are perfect. I think 1 to 7. Mine's 1 to 10. As long as it's before puberty, pretty much just an innocent support club dedicated to protecting children. My f***ing ass. Hey, so I'm actually editing this video right now, and while I was collecting screen caps, I saw an address at the bottom of their website, so I was curious, and I googled it, and I swear to fucking God, right across the street from the building, listed on their website. There's the elementary school, and there's the building. There's their building, there's the elementary school. 200 feet away. So really, what the f is this? You couldn't even write this. I don't like it. Sorry, I don't like it. I don't like the vibes. Bad vibes. They have a forum. Let us now go! Read a big-brained discussion. I commonly hear the phrase, insert sexual activity, should be legal, as long as it's done between consenting adults. What does Prostasia think about the possibility of instead using the term consenting persons? Consenting adults is an basically exclusionary term. But changing subjects, do you know the age of consent here in Brazil is 14 years old? That's an interesting fact, isn't it? No. Wow, there's another Brazilian here at the forum. I didn't know. What's going on, Brazil? Pedophiles are usually friendly and happy. Sometimes they do things they shouldn't, like breaking some law, but they usually try to reduce that to a minimum whenever possible. Ped means child. Bile is lover. Bile doesn't actually refer to pure sex. Cope. Officer, you don't understand. I am in love with the 2-year-old. Did you know that even the sex offender registry is based on the stranger danger propaganda? The stranger danger propaganda is this. Very ugly, repulsive, hairy, fat, antisocial male who has no social life, who lurks around schools and gives sugar candies to children so children can follow him. Yes, the stranger danger propaganda is behind the sex offender registry. These registries are based on emotion, fear, and outrages for isolated cases that were propagated and exaggerated by the media. So people thought that kidnappings, rape, and abuse were everywhere. The fact that whole laws, registries, fears, and ideas are based on the stereotypical boogeyman simply proves that pedophilia is nothing more than a baseless fear. Why do people have problems admitting that pedophilia doesn't exist? And it's entirely made-up concept that's used to describe sex between adult people and young people? Obscenity laws, in and of themselves,
Hope he gets beat in prison.
I I personally think that non-offending pedophiles could become part of the LGBT community. Adults are often touch deprived. Our workplaces are conscious of sexual harassment, and society has broadened culturally. Our need for touch is often fulfilled by children. The belief that pedophiles are sadistic abusers by nature is deeply ingrained in law enforcement culture. I don't know about everyone else, but when someone tells me, insert person here touched a child, my reaction is, okay.
Disgusting.
Touching a child is a crime, then every parent should be in prison. Got him! Where would you want to live? Since Finland is pretty much the Japan of Europe when it comes to their laws. So that's nice. Anyway, thanks and good luck to you all. Unlike most anarchists, I believe that the concept of age-based hierarchy can and should be abolished. On Twitter, there appears to be a large amount of people who support making it a felony to look at children in public for sexual arousal. I'd like to see them try and stop me. I think we have lost the war. What war, you may ask? The war for sexual rights, of course. They can't understand that pedophilia is an entirely made-up word. They can't understand that a majority of rapes are made by someone the child already knows. Rapes in quotes. The sheer audacity to use this Holocaust poem in defense of pedophilia, unparalleled. Why are MAPS any more likely to commit criminal offenses? MAPS love children. They don't hurt them.
I'm done.
First started talking to MAPS on the internet. Wholesale hatred of men who admit attraction to teenage girls is the sickness of modern society, in part caused by homosexuality and interracial relations. What a time to be alive!
Can't find anybody.
I don't think you should call me anymore.
What's happening?
I don't know.
Yellowstone 2-hour premiere event. Tomorrow at 8. Exclusively on Paramount Network.
Hi, Sandy!
Howdy, Patrick.
Remember when you had told me to learn a new language?
Yes, I remember.
I learned the French language. This has made me a lot smarter, I think.
Nice. I'm so proud of you, Patrick.
French is a very funny language, though.
What makes you say that?
Translate 5010 into French.
Okay, I'm gonna translate 5010 whole into French.
50 coq.
Secundis cook. Can't lie and say it's that kind of funny. Secundis cook. cannot believe I got hit by that. I cannot believe they are hit by that fucking attack! I'm hungry! I want something to eat! I'm tired of this garbage game! Sick and tired of it! Game sucks! Oh, fuck this game, dude.